You're watching Uncharted, the Young Professionals podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle.
And today's episode is leadership. So, Kyle, can you take me through some of your leadership paths and how you got into them?
Yeah, so within MAPS itself, I've come across the professional development role as well as the membership role. They kind of merged together after last year, and in this role, really what I've been doing is, coordinating events to get students involved in, career confidence and, kind of really getting their feet on the floor and moving along.
Exactly. And you're generating more members also, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Appealing to other people. How does leadership affect you? How did you find yourself getting into this role? How did you find yourself head deep in SBAC and MAPS also?
Yeah, so talking a bit about SBAC, the Student Business Advisory Council. Last year, a lot of the leadership left and graduated, and I had to step up to the role, and it was either hey, if no one's gonna do it, the group's gonna dissolve, and if the group's dissolving because I don't step up, that's kind of that's on me. So I stepped up to the role, and at first it was definitely something I wasn't terribly comfortable with. Never really led a group before, and I've definitely learned a lot from it about myself and about how to kind of lead a team and organize things to actually get stuff done. Right now we're working on getting some surveys out to the student body and asking them, hey, what's good about the school? What can we change? How can we be doing better? And leading the group to get that accomplished has been something that's really taught me a lot. So it's been a good run so far.
That's sick. Can you speak a little bit about how MAPS impacted you?
Yeah,
how
definitely.
Much prepared you for that?
Yeah, so MAPS itself, I joined when I was a sophomore. Didn't really take it too seriously. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I need something on my resume. That's how it went. And over the years, I kind of got more involved. Started doing some Chuck-a-Puck events, and really.
So you get your foot in.
Exactly. It's Chuck-a-Puck, all Chuck-a-Puck. But I interviewed for a position, and I ended up getting it, and here I am. And it's definitely brought me a lot of great opportunities within meeting people, learning so much about how to actually write a resume, go to a networking event and talk to people, interview skills, all these types of things that have really benefited me in getting internships and lining up jobs and having a good resume and having things that really kind of build up who you are as a person professionally. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I took the same exact route in MAPS. Honestly, I came in bright-eyed as a freshman. I'm like, this is the marketing group. I'm a marketing major. Let me come to a meeting or two.
Yeah.
I sat down and I was like, wow, okay, this is great. I see the exact vision. We had a great president. We had a few great presidents while I was here, and they just set the tone. And I was like, I want to be here. I want to be the cream of the crop. And me and Adam came in freshman year. I met Adam, I think 5 meetings in, and we looked at each other and we were like, yo, we're gonna be president.
Awesome.
It's going to be written. And lo and behold, 4 years later, we are president. And it's not just the title. It's so many little nuances that go into it.
Oh, yeah.
We oversee 2 student-run businesses, Compass and Statement. So it's pretty cool to say that. We oversee 2 student businesses and a fully operating student org. It's really cool. There's a lot of responsibility that plays into it. And the opportunities I've gotten from this are just
100%.
crazy.
Yeah.
And the relationships I've formed and the bonds, you guys will probably be in my wedding. Everyone in MAPS. Yeah, Tyler, you will be in my wedding too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, definitely. It's a family. It's really when you kind of integrate yourself so much into an organization, especially from day one, like you and Adam, and you have a vision and you say, hey, this is where I want to be. How am I going to get from here to there? What steps will I take to get there? And you've done that.
Runway.
What exactly? It's all about the runway. And how much time do we have to get this done, and how are we going to do it? One thing I want to ask you is, so I know that you just told me that you have this vision that, hey, we're going to be president, and here you are. What are some of the steps that got you there? How did you get this done?
I submerged myself in MAPS. I was not afraid to get my hands dirty, and everyone knew this. I would be at every Chuck-a-Puck, every event, and I'd help out here. I started off as an original Statement kid before we got this place moving, and it was my way in, and I worked my way up. I grinded. I stayed here for a lot of hours, and we're here. Now I'm in a leadership role. I can carry these leadership roles into my next role after graduation, and all these little nuances that help me, like career development, office etiquette, just everything I picked up in every little aspect of MAPS is going to help transition me to that next step.
Definitely, 100%. It's all about the transferable skills that you get from things like MAPS and the Student Business Advisory Council, and in your classes even. A lot of it just generates what you need to become successful in the future, and having that vision is another huge piece of it. So
Exactly.
that's awesome.
Exactly. One thing we pride ourselves here at Maps is if we talk about something, we have to do it. We're like, anybody can talk. Like, we all can say things, but who's gonna put the footwork in and get it done?
Who's gonna lay the hammer down?
Exactly.
Hit the nails.
That's what we pride ourselves on. If we're gonna talk about it, we have to do it. So like, if we don't talk about it, we don't have to do it. If we talk about it, we must go after it and do what we say we're gonna do. It's credibility. We can't lose our credibility.
No, 100%. Totally agree.
So touching more on SBAC, can you like give us a gist of what you guys do as a whole for the student body and how it's coming together now? Because I know joining the group, I'd say I'm a fair member, and I love where we're going with things. I feel like we're the bridge between the students and the professors.
Exactly. So touching on that, like you just said, us as the students representing the student body, we are in contact with faculty and administrators and the business advisory board who create the curriculum for us. They're real people in real roles that spend time to say, hey, this is what we're doing in our jobs right now at this high 30,000 foot level, and they see all of this stuff that is integral to their business, and they say, you need to be doing this, this, and this to the faculty. The faculty then responds and creates the curriculum. We take the curriculum and go through it, and then we provide feedback to that, say, hey, we haven't really found that we've learned anything from this, this, or this, but these two classes have been huge in my progression as a student and learning. So really, we're trying to kind of get back to that core more as a group, and really just see what the students think, because we know what we think in a group because we're talking to each other all the time. And I know we talk to other students about, hey, this class sucks, this class is great. But getting a whole, kind of that 30,000 foot view of the whole business school, and hey, who's enjoying this, who's not enjoying this, who's getting anything from this, do they see any value in it, and then report that back to the business advisory board and the faculty so they can tweak things. If they say this is necessary, but we hear that, this class sucks and we don't get anything from it, where can we bridge that gap and really get something valuable for students and something that the business advisory board knows we need. So
exactly,
that's
that
really,
feedback's essential.
Exactly, it's the feedback cycle really. It's you start with the idea, you do the idea, you critique it, you implement the new feedback, and the circle starts again. So that's really what we're there for, is being a critical piece in that feedback area. And I feel like without this group, the business school wouldn't run nearly as efficiently, and more students would be even, more students wouldn't get as much out of it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I know what you're saying. Let me get a super unbiased answer here. What class would you like to see implemented in the business world? And I said business world, excuse me. Business school, like next year, come up that you would think is like essential in our professional development and our overall just careers?
So this is a class I've already taken, so I don't know if this counts or not, but it's a class I've already taken, but I know a lot of students haven't taken. It's not a requirement, it's not a prerequisite, it's none of that. It's an elective class. This class, feasibility and planning, and what you end up doing is you work with a client, like a real world person who has an idea, hey, I want to do this in 5 years. And we take that idea and we do a whole industry analysis. Whole industry analysis of everything that goes on in the industry. What are the strengths, the weaknesses, some of the opportunities, where might you be able to fit in. And we take 8 weeks and we go about this whole process of gathering data, and then once we have all this data, and it's a lot of data, because we need to understand exactly what happens in this industry and really how it works and operates and where some places you can fit in. So after probably about 5 or 6 weeks of collecting data, you then analyze all of it and say, we can't fit in here because of X, Y, and Z, but because we can't fit there, we can go over here because this is a niche that hasn't been satisfied yet. So in moving that way, it's really something that gives you some real world experience, and then at the end of the whole thing, the client comes in and they say, all right, what's your plan? What do you got for me? What's your proposal? And you come up with usually around a 20 or so page document for the actual person, and it has all the data that you collected, all the reasoning why you chose what you chose, and you go back and forth in a Q&A saying, this was your original vision here. We really don't think that's possible, but here's some other routes you could go. And that class itself is how to analyze whole industries, which is huge in knowing, especially at a high level executive point. You need to know your industry, where you're standing at. At a president's perspective, you need to know exactly how your industry operates and how you can benefit from where you can find opportunities. And that class specifically has definitely been the most impactful. And I think more students, I think it should be a requirement, honestly. And you work with a real person, so it's not like you can't just say, screw it. You have to do it because someone's counting on you to have this information. So it's that extra level of kind of pressure that, gets better work and work on time. So that class has definitely been a huge turning point for me in my kind of.
Has it helped you out with your leadership skills? Did you?
Definitely, yeah. So in that course, we were all broken up into about 4 or 5 groups, and we all took a specific industry, and we all analyzed about 4 or 5 industries to get a whole view of exactly what we're working with here. And I was one of the group leaders for one of the industries, so really what I did was I collected some data, of course, but I kind of distributed the work out evenly to say, hey, this is what we need. Who wants to do what? Who's good at this or that? What are your skills? What are you best at? What are you not great at? And matching up what the work was with those skills, so you can really get 1, good work, and 2, happy people. At least, it's still a research
that's what it
project,
comes back to as leadership. You have to encourage, you have to motivate, and you have to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our episode, leadership. Thanks for coming on, Kyle.
Thank you.